So a fishy fiasco, you could say, is currently unfolding in a West End Ottawa park. At the center of it, a massive school of goldfish. So the city is preparing to euthanize them, citing potential harm to other fish populations and major disruptions to the local ecosystem. Steven Cooke is a professor in the Department of Biology at Carlton University. He joins us now. Professor, welcome to the program.
Good day, Anthony.
So you hear this, a school of goldfish. A lot of people might be thinking a massive cull of this, a little cruel. The city says this is necessary. How did this come to this point?
Yeah, so it would have started with something as simple as a pet owner deciding that it was time to get rid of their goldfish. And then another pet owner did it, and another pet owner. And eventually there was a boy and a girl. They came together and they made lots of babies. That's something that goldfish are really good at. And even in a pond, not a very big pond or impressive pond like you can see here, that's ideal goldfish habitat. There's a reason why goldfish are the ideal first pet. They can live in poor water quality if you forget to change the water. You can't really underfeed them. You can't really overfeed them. They just do really well in this kind of environment.
Okay, so we're talking about, they're calling it an invasive species at this point. I mean, how dangerous is this?
Yeah, so these are a domesticated species. Goldfish came to Canada in the 1800s. They would have been in the wealthy people's fountains in their fancy estates, and over time they found their way into pet stores and so on. But they are indeed invasive. They should not be here, and because they're so good at reproducing, they tend to rather quickly get to really high population sizes and essentially smother out other life. The other thing they do is they root around in the bottom and they make the water muddy. They mobilize all that silt, and then that impacts the ability of sunlight to penetrate. That means that plants don't have the sunlight they need to grow. Those plants are what produces oxygen, and all of a sudden you have a muddy, vegetation-free, low oxygen environment. That's bad for fish, that's bad for frogs, but goldfish love it.
Okay, describe, I know I have to maybe put a warning because this may be unpleasant for a lot of people listening and watching this, but how did they discover that this was a problem?
Yeah, it started with a bunch of dead goldfish washing up last spring, just after the ice melted. And when I say a lot of goldfish, it was thousands. And so that smelled, then you have raccoons and other scavengers coming in and seagulls. So that's sort of what alerted folks to the fact that there are goldfish in this pond. And so the idea now is to try and go in, see what's left, try to mop up and get more of them out. Realistically, that's a tough go. They're going to use nets. Even with the best netting crew on the planet, there's always going to be a couple of goldfish that are faster and smarter than those pulling the nets. So eventually, I think they're going to have to resort to using a pesticide for fish, something we call a piscicide.
Interesting. So will this ultimately solve the problem?
Netting will not. Netting's simply going to drive down the population size, but it'll keep rebounding. If we were to use a pesticide, a piscicide, that will wipe out the goldfish, but it will wipe out all the other fish that are in the pond. So it kind of takes you back to square one. Yeah. So then you have to start playing Mother Nature, introducing some of those native species, and hoping that goldfish don't get reintroduced.
You say thousands. Rough estimate, how many do you think?
So the city councilor has thrown down the number of 500 to 1,000. I've been doing this for a while as a fisheries scientist. Sadly, we can't stand on the bank of a water body and just guess. But what I can tell you is for every big goldfish, there's thousands, tens of thousands, potentially even hundreds of thousands of little ones. So I think that they're probably way off in their estimation. I think that these goldfish really have quite a foothold in this pond, and it's going to be quite difficult to get them out.
And every day, of course, they're producing more and more. So a lot of people think a goldfish is harmless, but this is a reminder for everyone at home who may have a goldfish they don't want anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And so first step is when you're thinking of investing in a new pet, whether that's a goldfish or a puppy, making sure that you're committed to the long term, that you know what's involved. And if it gets to the point where you can no longer take care of the goldfish, then it means time to think about rehousing it, contacting the pet store, thinking about whether or not there's somebody else, a friend, Facebook Marketplace, whatever, trying to figure out somebody else that can take it. We absolutely do not want these fish released into the wild. It is, in fact, illegal to do so. And it doesn't matter whether it's goldfish or betas or piranhas, whatever you have at home that you bought from the pet store, it does not belong in the wild here in Canada.
My goodness, an interesting and an important reminder. We appreciate this. Thank you so much. That is Steven Cooke, biology professor at Carlton University in Ottawa. Professor, thank you again.
Take care.